Here it is October, and along in October I begin thinking about what I want to make for Thanksgiving. And I'm going to show you how to make a quick and easy little pumpkin roll. They're really good. I'm going to show you how to prepare the pan first. Now on this pan, I've taken, this is just a piece of wax paper and your jelly roll pan, and this is a 10 by 15. Whenever you're making a jelly roll, that is one thing that you definitely want to have the pan size as what the recipe says that you need. Otherwise, your cake can be too thin or too thick in places, and whenever it is, it does not roll up good. I'm going to grease the bottom of that pan and up the sides. You don't have to put a lot of oil on there. It's better to use oil than to spray it on. I found that spray has a tendency to want to kind of gum up on cookie sheets and pans like this. And I'm going to lay my paper on top of that. Now if you notice, I've cut those corners out, just little squares in the corners, and that is just to make that lay down smoother. You want it to come up on the sides and lay down good inside your pan. See how neat that makes it? And that way, whenever you bake your cake, it doesn't get all those hard little edges here in the corner. Then you're going to add just a little bit more oil to the top, and this is probably about a tablespoonful. You don't need a whole lot, just enough to make sure that you dampen that all the way on the top and along the sides. Now if it gets feeling a little dry as you kind of drag that across there, you can go ahead and add a little more oil. You just don't want it to stand in a puddle anywhere. Otherwise, that's going to be on your cake when you take your cake out, and you really don't want oily cake. Okay, we're going to start out with 1 cup of granulated sugar and 3 eggs. I've let these eggs set out so that they're room temperature, and the reason that I've done that is just they beat up so much better. Gonna beat that all in there, get it mixed up really good. You could use an egg beater for this if you wanted to, but you really don't have to. It's just a matter of getting your eggs and your sugar blended well. No white streaks, no yellowy lumps. You can see that's nice and smooth. Now you're going to begin to add your dry ingredients. And with that dry ingredients, I have 2/3 cup of, this is Bisquick baking mix. The same thing as you get to make waffles or pancakes, biscuits. 2/3 cup of pumpkin. It doesn't seem like very much, but you have to remember you're only making a 10 by 15 pan right now. That's what it is in. And this is 2 teaspoonfuls of cinnamon and a little less than 1/8 of the nutmeg. I'm not a big nutmeg fan, so I don't put a lot in there. It makes it a little milder, and a lot of people do not like that strong taste that you get with nutmeg. And this is a way I make it now. You can do however you want to. If you like nutmeg, add a little more. Just be careful. Okay, now you want to stir this up to where that you pretty well have all of those The baking mix has a tendency to kind of want to lump up a little bit. As you can see, these are smaller lumps. You don't have to worry about them, but any big lumps you want to kind of mash against the bowl, get rid of those. Now, if you like these recipes that we fixed, you need to subscribe and like on Twisted Mike's website there. Okay, we have got our pumpkin mixture ready. Oh, my oven is ready. 375 on that oven. And I like to kind of pour this up and down so that it's easier to spread. Now you can see it's a pretty thin mixture. And we're going to begin spreading that out a little bit so that it reaches into all of the corners. And it will be thin in your pan here. So if you think you don't have quite enough, if you've got the right size pan, it will be just the right amount. Kind of get that in the corners. What you're aiming for here is for it to be about the same height all the way across. You don't want one end higher than the other or it will cook faster because it is thin. You want it to all cook evenly at the same time. Get that in there. Okay, we have got it all evened out. It's in our pan. And I've got about 1 cup of ground up pecans. You don't want it to be in any big lumps, but just kind of sprinkle those over the top of your cake mixture. And I ground these up pretty fine because whenever we roll this pumpkin roll up, we don't want any big nuts that would cause it to maybe crack. As you can see, that's pretty fine. How to get your corners and your edges. All right, I'm going to put it into the oven. And I've put my stove to where that I've got a middle rack right in the middle of the oven, and we're going to cook it for about 13 to 15 minutes. Begin checking it at 13 minutes, but you'll probably take 15, maybe just a couple minutes longer depending on your oven. So 375, 13 to 15 minutes. Okay, it has been actually 17 minutes. Now I've got this, you can see whenever you're looking at it, you want it to where that it kind of pulling away a little bit there from your pan. And this is the tricky part. I have a towel here, just a regular kitchen towel, and I have dusted it with powdered sugar. Not enough to where there's big chunks, because big chunks wouldn't be good, but just turn that over and see that comes right out. And then what you're trying to do is get it as even on there as you can. Then you're going to take the edges, be sure the edges of that paper is up out of the way. And then you're going to slightly begin to pull. Now you have to be careful with this because you don't want to break the cake up. So just go slow. Get that side. You need to do this while it's warm, because if you wait till it cools off, it will not come off of there. There we go. Another careful down here on the end. Okay. Now we've got this to where there's about 2.5, 3 inches there, and we're going to double that over. And then we're going to lay that right on top, and we're going to begin to roll. Now you don't want to roll it real tight, just loosely roll. And when you get down at the end, as you can see, there's your edge. You're going to bring that on over to where that it's right at the edge of that. And then you're going to let it set at room temperature until it completely cools through there. It may feel just a little warm to the touch, but it won't be hot any longer. And you're looking at least 1 hour. Okay, our pumpkin roll has cooled for an hour, and we're going to now make the filling. I have here 8 ounces of softened cream cheese. And usually when they say softened or room temperature, they're talking about setting out on the cabinet for at least 1 hour. Now I like mine just a little bit softer because we want it to beat up really smooth and creamy. So I put it in the microwave for about 15 seconds. And then I'm adding 6 tablespoonfuls of softened butter. And we're going to mix that to where that it is all creamed and smooth together. This doesn't even take a full minute. It goes together really fast, and you can see how well mixed and how smooth it is. Now to that I'm going to add 1 tablespoonful of our pure vanilla. And they always say do not measure over your pan, but as you can see, I did. Didn't do too bad. And I have here 1 cup of confectioner's sugar. And I'm slowly going to add that in. If you turn it up very high and add it, it absolutely throws powdered sugar everywhere. You need to get it a little wet. There's your cup. And then you're going to turn it up on high and let that beat until it is good and smooth. Everything's mixed in. And that is it for the filling. Okay, we're going to unroll our pumpkin roll. And as you can see, it's not sticking. The one thing you like is, that's what this powdered sugar on the towel was for that side. I'm going to just put all of this cream cheese right there in the center. Now I'm using not an offset spatula, but just a straight spatula, because I want to move that cream cheese around. See how well that smooth that is? That just sort of spreads out and does good. You're going to put that up there almost to the end. Kind of run it out there close to the side, but you don't have to get overly close, because whenever you roll this up, the cream cheese that is in the center is going to kind of squoosh out there then to the side. This is something that you just kind of have to work at until you get it all covered. Now if you look, we have left just about 1/4 of an inch there on the end. And then we're going to begin rolling it back up. Now you may have some breakage in the cake. You shouldn't have too much. You do not want to roll it so tight. If you do, it's going to squish out all of your filling and it will break your cake. It just kind of will roll. They're good for itself. Put it on the seam that you begin with because you want it to hold it down. Your pumpkin roll is really pretty steady. So you're just going to kind of run your hand under there, lift it up, place it over onto your plate of your choice. And there we have our nice pumpkin roll. Now if you like these recipes, please join us, subscribe, share it with others. Thank you.